issues in our day-to-day lives have been difficult to deal with. But for kids, getting to grips with what's going on has been even harder. A new survey by UNICEF has found nearly half of Australian kids are experiencing increased stress and anxiety. About a third are less hopeful about the future. And the number who feel equipped to cope has dropped dramatically. But it's also children who are coming up with ways to help. An Australian podcast recorded by kids for kids is making waves around the world. It's also being used by hundreds of schools across the country. National education and parenting reporter Connor Duffy has the story.
Watch out.
Smiles and laughter are making a comeback for Michaela Conomos and her 6-year-old son Cooper. But at the height of the pandemic, he'd lost his light.
He became quite angry and quite physical with me as well. And for a child who normally goes to sleep and you could set your watch by him, he had quite a lot of sleeplessness.
Isolated and scared, Cooper didn't cope well with remote learning.
When I was at home, I was lonely because I wanted my friends to play with me.
Michaela's little boy developed a tic, involuntarily twisting his ear, making his mother worry he'd injure himself.
I was shocked and I thought, is it me? Am I imagining this? Am I seeing this, quite a happy little boy that is normally smiley when he goes to school and happy when you pick him up?
What's the bit here? I think that's New Zealand there. Can you find the Kiwi?
Michaela found exercise and distracting Cooper with puzzles helped. Now she'd like us all to talk more about mental health.
In terms of being able to find resources that are age appropriate for your child, I'm still a little bit of a loss.
What's something you feel worried about at the moment?
At Wallara Public School in Sydney, Year 5 students Charlie, Rosie and Lucas are tackling fears head-on.
I'm worried about the coronavirus and my friends and family getting sick.
They're recording a podcast called Grow Your Mind to speak directly to kids around the world about their mental health.
They know it's not just them who are worrying. They know that they're not alone in worrying.
The same way from a very young age we learn to brush our teeth to protect our physical health. There are things that we can do to protect our mental health.
I think we should probably add a walkie-talkie effect here.
The kids scripted a special coronavirus episode, and at just 10 and 11 are thinking deeply and gaining resilience by focusing on helping others.
I enjoy how it helps other kids to learn their mental health at home so they can focus on it at home with people they love.
This guy's a bit of a favourite here at Wallara, isn't he?
Now in 300 schools, the program also has classwork. Educators like Nicole Malloy use animals to teach kids about their brains. The amygdala, an ancient part of the brain that helped humans survive by triggering fear and sometimes anger, is represented as a guard dog.
He often gets too angry and kind of grows big and makes little problems seem massive.
That's absolutely right. It's useful because it makes sense to kids. It tells a narrative. So it explains a really esoteric kind of concept, which is the science of your brain and how that works and how that impacts on physically on you and links to emotional regulation.
So right now, with all the potential job losses, there are reasons for families to be concerned.
Adults too, like clinical psychologist Dr. Danielle Einstein, who specialises in managing uncertainty, also supports new approaches, like not hiding obvious uncertainty from children.
They're worried about a whole lot of things, and we need to know how to have the conversations with our kids that actually provide corrective information once we know.
Not all of our brains work the same way or face the same challenges, so some children will need more traditional treatments like medication too. But experts say learning to deal with a threat that shakes life to its core, like COVID-19, and dealing with the uncertainty will help them for the rest of their lives.
While we wouldn't ever have wanted the current situation with the pandemic to be the time when we really champion these sorts of skills and understandings, that's exactly what's happened.
Helping to find hope in bleak times. Connor Duffy, ABC News.
It's a small community